Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Vernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we want to create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone Boozy and Breakfast with Vernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency. And this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to your afternoon edition of The Day Shift. I am Paulette, or Paulette on the mic, as you may know me on some of the other platforms. You are in the Brownstone. So if you are here, you are what we call neighbors. So welcome to the neighborhood of Brownstone Worldwide, which houses brownstoneworldwide.com, Cityscape Radio, and Brownstone Living Magazine. Go over to brownstoneworldwide.com to get your free digital issue. If you are watching us live right now on TikTok, Meta, or Instagram, you can head over to my stand store and get your free digital copy of Brownstone Living Magazine. I said free. F, like the old folks say, ARA. F-R-E-E. That's where you can go ahead and get it. So thank you guys for coming to join me. Hey, from Utah. How are you? Good to see you. Hey, Sharon. Divine Spark, welcome. So we are currently live. A couple things. Number one, I want to get personal right now. Why y'all didn't tell me being an empty nester doesn't feel good? What's happening to my emotions? Parenting never stops, but I am officially an empty nester. And KJ graduates in 2 weeks. And baby girl that just graduated, she officially found a job, or they reached out to her. It was her internship, and she will be relocating to another state. And I am sick. I am sick. So it felt good to you. I literally, I feel like I'm grieving, right? But for other reasons, and maybe there are some parents in here who will help me to kind of deal with this. So when I made a decision to focus on the children, it was also a way for me to focus on other things that I had going on, like healing from, wrong relationships and stuff like that. And I just really wanted to focus on myself. You know what I mean? And so I did. And before I knew it, the kids were grown, which just happened. So KJ just turned 18. Lily just graduated from college this past weekend, and she'll be relocating. And then, of course, KJ, we took him, what was it, this past week, his sister and I took him to college, and they accepted him right on the spot. He had all his paperwork and stuff, and I don't know what happened, because we were trying to figure out why his information never hit their portal. And they're like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, and da-da-da-da. So what he's going to do is he's going to go to a 2-year institution first so that he can work and get his associates. And then he's going to transfer over to the larger school and probably live on campus. That is what he wants to do. He's like, Mother, I just really want to work. I want a full-time gig, XYZ, and I want to study And so it's going to take him 60 credit hours to get this cybersecurity degree. It'll be cheaper for him to be in state, and then he'll be able to transfer over. He is looking at some HBCUs to complete his degree, and I'm proud of him. So, but I'm proud of both of them. Don't get me wrong. But what am I supposed to do with my time, y'all? Everybody's grown. My oldest child is married. She has children. She just called, of course, like she always does when I go live. And then on top of that, my second oldest, gardening. I'm already gardening. So y'all gonna have to tell me, you're gonna have to give me some things for me to do. I have not dated, and Lord knows how long. How old is KJ? He's 18. I haven't dated since he was 3. That was intentional. Time for more videos. Yes. So that is something, Sharon, that I've noticed that I've been doing. Oh, girl, no, not a collect cats. Me and cats do not get along. Nope. Don't like doing that. So I think it'll probably be focusing more. I'll be traveling a lot more, no doubt. That is something that I'm looking to start doing, and doing more of this, and really kind of focusing on the business aspect of things. But I also know that I will definitely need a life. This cannot be my life. It can't. And Cutter, I appreciate that. I do. But me and cats never got along. I'm not doing y'all claws. You're not digging in my furniture. Yes. So traveling is something that I am going to consider. And I'm not just talking like a Carnival cruise or like a world cruise or something like that. Right. I'm going to start doing that. Like, for real, you were jumping rope the other day, Cutter, and I was like, oh, man, I got a rope in the back. I got one of the weighted ones. I have, the only thing I don't have are weights. Welcome to those of you all who are joining us on the other platforms. I see you popping in. Thank you so much for joining us. We're just having the conversation now on this empty nesting. And you know what? No cats, live your life. So I'm really thinking, so like my 31-year-old, her and her daughter, they do their own thing. I rarely see them, and so it's just gonna be, and I don't want to, and I was sitting here last night and I was thinking to myself, you know what, if I'm not careful, this is going to be a lonely existence. And we're not gonna have that. Don't ask me what I'm gonna do, because I couldn't tell you. But I thought, let me talk about this. If you all have any advice, because I don't have to take anybody with me if I don't want to anymore. I don't have to ask anybody who's hungry. Yep, you outside. Kind of said we outside this year. You outside. I just want to know how to deal with the grieving, because I know I'm grieving and it doesn't feel good. I have planted. I got so many plans. So my daughter came home from school and she goes, "It looks like an old person lives here." I was like, what? What do you mean? So she starts pointing at my plants. She was like, Exhibit A. I thought, oh no, you didn't. So it's a challenge. I'll definitely say that. But I'm going to start finding some things to do. Again, I have the speaking engagement in June, and then I have the 3-day event with my mastermind friends. For those of you all who are not familiar with Traffic Sales and Profit with Lamar and Ronnie Tyler, please go check them out. I've been a part of that community for, I think, 4 years, and it is amazing. Okay, it's hard at first, but you will love the ability to do what or whatnot whenever you wish. I'll tell you what, my bank account feels better already. I'll say that. Your season not all right. Thank you. It looks like somebody grandmama lived here. Mother, what is this? And, because I have, or like yesterday, here's my biggest pet peeve, and then we're going to get into the news. I have a pet peeve in my house, and it is, we do not use paper plates. It is a no. So my daughter, she's looking, she's like, what is this? And we never have. We've always used China. And so, she was like, we don't just have like regular plates. First of all, what is a regular plate? If you eat, use a regular plate. Use China. Use dining. Yes, mugs, cups. Y'all see that I got my pastor's glass. There's a whole set, right? So I use glass. I use crystal. I use China. And the two of them, they were in the kitchen yesterday evening, and they were literally laughing at me. And Imani goes, golly, I started using the containers, the storage containers to put the food in, because Mama always got us sitting over here fine dining every single time we eat. Well, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? When I grew up, true story, that's how we ate. I don't know if anybody else grew up like that. We didn't, in the household that I grew up in, we set the table. Oh, China. Yeah, we set the table every day, 6 o'clock. Dinner was set. Yes. You had your china, you had your plate right here. The kids had like regular plates, you know. And they had china. They ate on fine like every day. And it's weird to me, like we had the and I understand now why my foster parents did that. It was because they were trying to teach us how to be able to sit at the table with people that didn't think that we belonged there. And they knew how to do it. And so they taught us how to do it, how to set the table, where to put the butter pack, where to put the small plate, all the things, right? Where to put the coffee mug and everything, and how to use the fork and the knife to communicate with the servers. Hell, the servers don't do that now. They don't even understand when I cross my fork over my knife or the knife at a specific, you know, those were things that we were taught. And then one of the other things that they did, they always had us in these nice summer programs and after school programs. And one of them was a charm school. And these were the things that I was taught, but literally we had a napkin on one side. We knew exactly how to use, and I don't know any other way. Now, we don't set the table here because they're like, mother, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, right? It's bad enough we call you mother. But it is literally, they were laughing at me. And I don't think it's anything wrong with having, you know, so, you know, and it's not so much about being cultured. It's just learning how to do stuff correctly. You know what I mean? And kind of understanding that, number one, when I'm in the room, or when I was in corporate and I'm in the room with these people who are, you know, from other global locations, because I work for a global company, I was able to sit down with them and dine. So yes, Gwendolyn, bring back a little class. Ain't nothing wrong with that. We sitting around in front of the TV, just, you know, gulping all the food. Now, one thing that I do require is they use the dining room table when they eat. That's it. I don't even eat in my room. That's a no. So that is the one thing that is required, is that you eat at the table, or you can stand in the over here on the kitchen counter, and you could do your thing on the island. You can do that. But thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. But yes, I just wanted to kind of bring that up, and they were laughing at me and stuff. But anyway, let's get into the news and information that you can use, because of course we have a ton of stuff to talk about. Ooh, child. Let's start with George Santos, because why not? The first thing that I definitely want to talk about is I want to share his video, because I thought, I know he's not asking for it. Y'all, George Santos, for those of you all who are not familiar with who this guy is, let's go ahead and look up exactly who he is. Now, if you want news and information that you can use on a regular basis, always head over to brownstoneworldwide.com throughout your day, so that you can get those updates and stay in the know on what is happening. And then also we have daily deals and coupons. It's getting an update today. So let's talk about this. Former New York Republican Congressman George Santos pleaded with President Donald Trump for a pardon, commutation, clemency, whatever the president is willing to give me. And he said this yesterday after being sentenced to 87 months in prison. Now, during an interview with Santos, who could be seen wiping tears from his eyes, Piers Morgan asked, "The clock is ticking." Y'all know he messy anyway. He like a little mess, because the other day he had a racist woman on there, and she professed to be completely racist. And he was like, well, just go ahead and say it. Just say it. Say the word. It was ridiculous. So he said the clock is ticking, and you're going to be in prison in 80 odd days. If Donald Trump is watching this interview, do you want to make a personal plea to him. And he said, previously, I was not entertaining a pardon because I didn't know what my judgment was going to be. Now I am in the process of filling an application out for a pardon from the president. I'll take a commutation. Oh, he's very messy, Gwendolyn. And, you know, I don't want this to seem like a political pitch. It is. I want it to be a fair pitch. And I think no better president than President Trump to know what a weaponized Justice Department looks like. And, you know, this is exactly it. 7 years and 3 months in prison for a first-time offender over campaign matters just screams over the top, and I would appreciate if the president would consider. He's also expressed concern over being brutalized. Listen, because you know Santos is of the LGBTQ community. He says he's afraid of being brutalized while he's in prison, revealing that he also revealed that he requested protective custody. He said he's not asking for special treatment. He's just asking for protective custody so that he doesn't become a statistic from the illegal immigrants and things like that. I'm not fearful of dying in there. Hold on, wait. You already know what I'm getting ready to do, right, Vanessa? You ready? Let's do it. What do I always say? Do right because it is right. You won't have this to worry about. Do the right thing. You took, yes, honey, sip the tea, boo. That is correct. Hold on, let me do it again because ooh. How are we supposed to feel that you are asking for a pardon for the things that you did? He did a lot. Let's talk about it, shall we? He filed fraudulent FEC reports, folks, embezzled funds from campaign donors. He stole identities and charged credit cards without authorization. He obtained unemployment benefits through fraud and lied in reports to the U.S. House of Representatives. That's what he did. That's a lot. He took donor funds and kicked it, hung out, had fun on donor funds. As a part of his sentence, he's also ordered to pay restitution to his victims in the amount of $749.97 and $205,002.97 in forfeiture. Okay? He did a lot. And according to what the judge said today, George Santos was finally held accountable for the mountain of lies, theft, and fraud he perpetrated. For the defendant, it was Judgment Day. And for his victims, including campaign donors, political parties, government agencies, elected bodies, his own family members, and his constituents, it is justice. Yeah. Sounds like the felon he's appealing to for a pardon. Correct. Yes. We could go further because also we have the mayor of New York who also decided to strike a deal so that he would not be charged, so that he could work directly with the Trump administration and stay out of trouble. I'm sure you all have heard about that too. Yeah, so there's that. Just thought we would kind of just, kind of truncate that just a little bit so that you all are kind of aware of what's happening on that front. Now, here's the thing. Pay attention, because it wouldn't surprise me. But again, just know this man is asking for a full and complete pardon. And by pardoning, he inadvertently admitted to guilt. Absolutely. But he was already found guilty. He's supposed to do 80 months. That's 7 years. He's sick. He probably doesn't have and he said, oh, I don't want to be away from my 4 dogs. I don't want to, miss watching my autistic niece, grow up and so forth. I think so too, Vanessa. I think so. And I just think that he's just out of, I'm sorry. Everybody deserves a second chance. But even after he had been charged, y'all, he was still in public, right? Cry me a river, cry me a river. Love that song, by the way, right? Exactly, Gwendolyn. He tried to ride the gravy train and it backfired on him. Exactly. I'm sorry. I don't have anything for him at this point. He had due process. Yes, do the time. Georgie Porgy pudding pie. Kiss the girls and make him cry. Yes. Go ahead. You got to, and again, it comes down to what I always say. Guess what? You got to do right because it is right. Period. Do right because it is right. That's it. And you wouldn't be in this situation. We all faux pas, we all hiccup, we've all done some interesting things, but he was blatant even after he had been charged. You know what I mean? Let's talk about Pope Leo. Pope Leo the 14th. And for those of you all who are joining us just now, because I always go live on TikTok first, we got to talk about Pope Leo and how the 7th ward is claiming Pope Leo from Chicago. The Shy, baby. The Shy. Those were my stomping grounds when I was a freshman in college. We drive down. So his brother has actually confirmed it. And you could look at him and see. I was like, okay, he's a little olive skin. What's happening? So, and if you look you see, like Kim was saying, her husband is Creole, and Creole runs in my family as well, on both my dad and my mother's side. And my mother still, before she passed, she would, speak the language. I never sometimes understood what the hell she was saying, so we grew up in that. Both sides of my family are from Louisiana. We are fully familiar with those who can pass. I have family members that can pass. And passing means you can literally live your life as someone of European descent and never be detected. For those of you I'm sure you're familiar with the term, but some people are brand new. So here we go. The last name gave it away for me. It was Prevost. That's his last name, or Provost. Okay. Robert Francis Prevost. That gave it away. You want to hear me sing, Eugene? Here's what you can do. For those of you all who want to hear me sing, it's a couple things you can do. Real talk. Yeah, this is a shameless plug, so thank you for that. Go over to Apple. 2 things you can do. I have 2 albums that are currently out. You can listen to the first project I ever did in life, and that is Arrested Development, 3 years, 5 days, and 2 days, 5 months and 2 days in the life of, and you can hear me on that project. Thank you, Lord, for royalty checks. Let's say that. At times like this. Or you can go ahead and check out my own personal project on there as well. And I used my middle name, which is Yvette. So it is Yvekemp. And you can definitely, is he taking on a new name required? Yes, he is. He's going to be using Leo. He is. So Eugene, there you go. You can listen to me that way. You can listen to me on the Arrested Development's first project. You can check me out there. Okay, Robert Francis Prevost, who on Thursday became the first American elected pope, has Creole of color roots in New Orleans. The newly elected pontiff is not known to have publicly commented on his Creole ancestry, but the family did not identify as Black, and that's what his brother told the New York Times. Pope Leo XIV's grandparents on his mother's side lived in New Orleans before they migrated to Chicago, which is what my mama did. That's what my mama's mama did. So my mother's mother moved them up north to Wisconsin, to Milwaukee, where there were plant jobs. for people of color, okay, and to escape Jim Crow. And this was in the 50s and the 60s. So Pope Leo the 14th's grandparents on his mother's side lived in New Orleans before they migrated to Chicago, where his mother, Mildred Martinez Prevost, literally was born in 1912. And so a family historian at the Historic New Orleans Collection who shared his research and records, Leo's maternal grandparents, Joseph and Louise Martinez, are listed as Black in a census record from 1900. Joseph is recorded as a cigar maker born in Haiti. The census record shows the couple as living in New Orleans' Seventh Ward, historically a melting pot of cultures in the Crescent City. And I'm actually, I'll share this image right here that I have that I'm looking at, the census for that area. The family were free people of color prior to the Civil War. When they moved to Chicago between 1910 and 1912, they passed into the white world. And there's somebody else they saying is Passe Blanc too. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Didn't want nobody to know he was Passe Blanc. But if you're not from that area, you're not used to seeing people who can pass. Very famous president. Yeah. Okay. So, and that's okay. I think that it's important to bring out that this is not accusatory. That's according to this genealogist. But that's what people did so they could survive and that they could live their lives. And people continue to do that. Okay. So before the Civil War, free Black Americans held higher social status than those who were enslaved, according to the Data Center, a research nonprofit focused on Southeast Louisiana. After the war, all people of color were suddenly categorized together for the first time, which amounted to a significant social demotion for those who were previously free. They were suddenly denied access to networks and resources that had previously been available to them. And that's not new news. But yeah, so you could absolutely see the documents here. John Prevost and his brothers didn't discuss the Creole lineage, saying it was never an issue. Well, no, it wouldn't have been if your family was passing. Okay. But he would be the first. He is the first, the first American. Oh. So where does he stand on political issues? Let's talk about that. I understand that he is not a fan of the current administration. How's that? So according to CNN reports, the world watched in rapt anticipation on, I think they made a great choice too, on Thursday as newly appointed Pope Leo the 14th stepped up to the velvet draped ledge of the St. Peter's Basilica balcony, raised his hand to greet a sea of Catholics who believed he had been appointed by the grace of God. This is what you wanted to know? Yay. Yeah. So he's 69 years old, Chicago native, and is the new leader of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics. He's the first U.S. born Pope. Catholic choice they did. I think that they really did. Now, how he chooses to tackle critical topics from same-sex marriage to women in the church remains to be seen. See, that's what I want to know. Okay. That's what I want to know. But those who know him say he'll likely continue his predecessor's path in his own image. Public statements, voting records in Illinois, and posts made on an X account under his name also paint a clear picture of the man beneath the robes. And so basically, this dude is going to be holding true to a couple of things like reproductive rights. He's absolutely going to hold staunch to some of those. In terms of LGBTQ rights and those kinds of things, it's still not really clear. I've read a couple of different things that kind of didn't kind of wavered away, just a little bit. I wasn't sure on that. So I will be doing some additional research on that. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance both congratulated the Pope yesterday, but his stances on a number of issues, a list that included climate change, immigration, and the war in Ukraine, raised the possibility of friction between a White House bent on shrinking the United States' obligations on the global stage and a pontiff calling for a united church, always seeking peace and justice. And a lot of people will say, well, what does this have to do with politics? Y'all don't even understand how big the Catholic Church is if you do not understand his stance and what that means in terms of politics and how things will play out on the global stage. Get out your boxes. Get out your box. And yes, CJ, he was a favorite. Okay, he was a favorite of the late Pope. He took aim at past things. This has a ton of things to do with it, because we're talking about a man, and we're talking about a world that is faith based on so many different levels, different religions. He's talked about the wrongful deportation of Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and also others who have started. And now it's starting to come out that some of these people are losing their lives, folks. I'm going to be doing a think piece on that. Yeah, he scolded JD about their immigration policies. And yeah, he's going to do the same, Vanessa. I 100% agree with that. I don't think he's going to stay quiet. And if you know anybody from Chicago, they are not quiet people. Have you paid attention to who is currently their governor? The governor of Chicago has not been quiet, and he is being very clear that people need to stand up to the current administration. Okay, so I definitely wanted to make sure that we were made aware of that and to share more information. And here's the thing, y'all. What a lot of people, so folks in the Black community are like, yeah, he can come to the cookout, those kinds of things. But you got to remember, his family moved north and chose to pass. They made a decision to pass. So I'm not really sure what that looks like, but there are people that are on TikTok specifically that are saying, oh yeah, that's our cousin. Yeah, we know all about them. I think that's who I'm talking about, Vanessa. I'm not sure, but yeah, she says, oh, yeah, we cousins. We cousins. Because like a ton of those people are literally doing genealogy together and finding out that they're, people that are passe blanc and those who are not are literally related. Yeah. My great uncle passed and fought for us from the other side. Yeah. Yeah. And it happens a lot. A lot. I have my cousin Herbert who passed away. When I tell you, he didn't even look Italian. Like, he had the jet black hair and he had gray eyes. I have family members right now, first cousins with gray eyes. My sister, literally, if her lips were any thinner, she could easily pass. Yes. So it's still a thing in our community. Skin color is still a thing. Hair texture is still a thing. It's still a thing in these places, and all around the world. It's ridiculous. But yeah, y'all know about passing. My mother told me once. She said, "Your sister can pass, you can't. You're gonna have to live differently." Hold my beer, Mama. Yeah, my mother told me that years ago, and I don't think that she meant it to hurt my feelings. She was only coming from a world where she knew you had to pass certain, if you were the same color as a paper bag. The true story, y'all. Yeah. She was preparing me. Yes, that's what she was doing. She told me. She was like, your sister can pass. She can go and get with a very nice white doctor and get away with it. You won't be able to do the same. You need to focus on your education. And I was like 10. I'll never forget this. I was 10 years old and we were sitting at the table together and my mother said that. And I thought, okay. And it hurt my feelings. It did. But as I got older, I understood she was telling me you're going to be seen differently. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Now let's talk about Keandria. We got to talk about Miss Keandria because she is in here knocking it out the park when we are talking about, hey, Willie, how are you? We have to talk about Shiloh. We got to talk about Shiloh because we want to continue to. Okay, I'm going to have to pull it up on my phone. We have to talk about this only because we don't want to dim the light on the fact that Shiloh is still trying to get this money, y'all. Did y'all hear about this? Shiloh Hendrix cannot access her funds. Want to know why? Let's talk about it, shall we? We gotta talk about it. Now, Keandria is also, she's on TikTok, she's on Instagram, she's on Threads. You can literally follow how fabulous this young lady is. Keandria is not playing with us in these streets, in these internet streets. She is using her, here she is. Keandria Damone is literally telling us they still trying to get her this money. She's the coder. Her name is Keandria Damone, Demone. Okay, Keandria. And she owns a company called Fem Finds ATL. So she's here in Atlanta. And she also owns a company called the Damone Agency. Now, let's talk briefly about what she's done. So, Keandria cracked HTML web code to expose the payment processing fund, the racist fundraising campaign for Shiloh Hendrix. You all know that she's close to 700,000. So we know, let's just do a quick backstory. So for those of you all who haven't been paying attention, Shiloh Hendrix went viral over the weekend for repeatedly using the N word in reference to a child. And when she got called out for it by a Somali individual who happened to be in the park that day, he recorded it. She began to say it again and again and lick her tongue out and do all kinds of crazy stuff. Hey, Ronnie, thank you so much. So to date, she's raised like $683,000 of the $1 million that she's asking the public for. We're not going to get into all of the horrible comments from people who are literally donating funds to this woman who has assaulted a child, verbally assaulted a child. Let me be clear on that. Okay, so she used a platform called Give, Send, Go. Let's back this up because we talked about this on Monday. This woman is on the same platform that raised money for Kyle Rittenhouse. Do y'all remember him? He is the young man who went to Wisconsin with artillery and claimed self-defense. Never understood that. Claimed self-defense and began assaulting people. She absolutely should, CJ. That man also has a GoFundMe. He had to move his family because of this. Yeah. So, and they took his down, Vanessa. Did you know that? And that's the man that shouted her out or whatever. Well, he's on TikTok and he says he does not have a record. He don't know what she's talking about because she tried to say, yeah. So she tried to say that he had all kinds of legal issues and he was a predator and all kinds of things. Well, he was like, I don't even have a record. What are you talking about? But yeah, they're coming for him and he's getting all kinds of threats and so forth. Yes. And she does, Vanessa. Yes. So let's talk about that. Even though they don't correlate, she does have, and I've seen screenshots of her record there. She's done some stuff, some domestic stuff. So there's that. Okay. But yeah, he wanted to help Kyle Rittenhouse and January 6 rioters. He raised so much funds. And then we know child actor Rick Schroeder actually funded the rest of the money that he needed in order for him to get strong legal counsel. And he's not done any time for the harm that he caused. Okay. So Keandria says, you didn't find it. It didn't just poof out of thin air. It came from a Black woman. I'm dealing with death threats, sleepless nights. I'm dealing with people doxing me, harassing me, being called racial slurs. I don't think it's fair to expect me to take that on and not give me credit for that, because what's happened is there were several other platforms that literally copied and pasted verbatim what she was saying on her Threads platform and literally didn't even change a word and posted it as their own. Okay. And she was like, at least tag me in it if you're going to do that. So, and then she also says that I don't think people realize that when they don't tag me, when they don't credit me as the source, they are minimizing my platform. They are undercutting my ability to make a difference. So she's literally had to fight for credit for what she has done. But let's dig a little bit deeper in what she's saying, because I need y'all to understand how deep this rabbit hole goes. She has since found out that, first of all, let's talk about what she did. And I said this on Saturday when we had my daughter's photo shoot. I said, Gibson Go is not going to take it down. We need to find out who the payment processor is. Honey, she went a step further, and I'm sure she's never seen me or whatever, but I was thinking in my head the same thing. She just found the source code, and we found out that the payment processor is going through a company called Block Inc. Are you listening? So let's find out who Block Inc. is. You ready? Let's go. We're going to, and for those of you all who are who saw the program that we did on Monday, you'll definitely understand. Okay, so ready? Block Inc. also has investors. Let's talk about this. So Square, does that sound familiar? Square. We can stop right there. They changed their name to Block Inc. Oh, but there's more. That's my favorite word. Right. Okay. So we're going to check out what they got here, because it's important. Why is it important? Because you need to know who these people are. Cash App. How many of us use Cash App on a regular basis? They tried to have it go through Cash App. Didn't work. Because she called that out too. You ready? This one's really going to get your cookies going. Title. Does anyone know what Title is? You ready? Jay-Z. Jay-Z and Kanye West years ago created a company called Title. And it was a place and a platform for artists like myself who got invites to go over to the platform so that we could get more of our money in terms of royalty checks, right? Title. You ready? How many of you use Afterpay? Yes. Here's another one, BitKey. Are you familiar with Bitcoin? That's another platform that they have. It's like a wallet. It's like Coinbase, okay? Paulette, why are these important? Well, number one, because you need to find out who sits on the board of some of these things. I'm sure Jay-Z is fully aware of what's going on because he still owns a portion of Title. How much of a percentage? I'm not sure. But basically, like CJ said, shut it down. So they're trying to figure out ways to get her the money. So Keandria found out that it was being handled by Block, which is Square, which owns Cash App. Square, which is still around, right? And also you have the other one, which is BitKey. And you also have the other platforms that they own, which is Cash App and Afterpay. Zelle is not on the list. Yeah. Why is this important? Because she dug deeper and found out that these particular companies on their website say that they are against discrimination, racial discrimination, and all of the hatred and all of the things. So here we are. So guess what just happened? So they sent out a message and said, oh, that's not us. That's not us. We're not doing that. But the source code clearly says that you are. It's right there. We haven't done business with them in 3 years, but it's right there. Yep. Speaks louder than words. Your words mean nothing. You're still doing it. So what Give, Send, Go did, because see, somebody's back in the background pulling triggers and levers or whatever, they put in Stripe. Yeah. Now, I just said the other day, I use Stripe. So they put in Stripe. Here's what I believe is happening. When you are making these decisions and you're pulling these levers behind, I'm sure that these people don't know, these companies don't know that you're, with who? Boycott list? I heard Square's no good. Yep. I did, Sierra. Kendria is not playing with y'all in these streets. So Square Up said, thank you for bringing this concern to our attention. We want to be absolutely clear. Give, Send, Go is not a Square customer, and we do not process payments for them. We have thoroughly investigated this matter and can confirm that Square has no current business relationship with Give, Send, Go. Kendria says, but you do. No Venmo either, Henry. Yep. So now Stripe is on it. And she has asked for people to literally share how to get in touch with Stripe and say, we're not going. See, a lot of times what happens when we're talking about these situations and these issues, sometimes these companies get so big and so high up, they don't know what's happening at the bottom when people are making these, because any one of us, let's just keep it real. Any one of us can literally set up a fund me type of platform. If you wanted to do it, you could. You can make it look all official and pretty and stuff, and then you could say what you wanted to say. But when we're talking about a company as big as this, that has all of these brands under it, once again, we're going to say it again. This is Block Inc., Square, Cash App, Afterpay, Tidal, BitKey. We have to start paying attention to where we're putting our monies. We have to be able to say, we're going to put our money where our mouth is. Who's been impacted by that? Ask Target, ask Walmart, ask Amazon. Each one of them have had a slowdown in sales in the past 90 days, if not more. Because we said, no, we're not. We're not giving you our money. And like my grandmother used to say, I'm not going to let you piss on me and tell me that it's rain. That's insane. When am I going to do a concert? It don't even make sense, Mark, does it? At all. Like, help me to understand where you want us to continue to use your services while you are telling people it's not you and you're still trying to do it. So as it stands right now, according to Kendria's page, y'all go ahead and follow this young lady. This girl still ain't got this money. So she says to this, Stripe is now processing payments for the racist fundraiser that is rewarding a woman for calling a Black autistic child the N-word. The last platform we caught did everything they could to lie and distance themselves, even with evidence in the code. We're not going back and forth. We're moving forward. At Stripe HQ, freeze those payouts. So people went over, including myself, to Stripe HQ's Instagram. They've stopped people from making comments and going in their DMs because we was tearing them up. We have to stop people from using our pain for profit. Exactly. That part, Mark. There's too many people that don't realize they're enabling these corporations to continue to take us for granted. It's too much. What are we doing? Eugene said, if you sing, they're going to do whatever you request. I don't know about that. At this age, I'm not as robust as I used to be, I guess. But yeah, so I think that at the end of the day, providing this information, it does exactly. Boycotting works. That's what Cheryl just said. Comment section, tear them up, get them comments, let them know we're not going for it. And you know what? This is a people issue. It's not okay to go after. See, and here's the thing about autistic people: their thought process is different. And even if the child wasn't autistic, it still doesn't matter. He's a child. He's a human being. I don't care if the person was 50 years old. You don't get a right to say that to people. And now you all are running around here. I saw a video the other day. Let's go here real quick, of a woman coming out of a laundry mat, calling a woman the N-word. Guess what she said, y'all? She said, Trump is here now. Trump is here now. I can say what I've always wanted to say. Okay. Mm-hmm. Y'all out here wild. So let's put this in perspective for those of us who know that our money speaks volumes. No. It's who she is, right? And again, from what I'm understanding, she has not been able. They're out. Oh, honey, Mark, when I tell you they out, people are out, and it's really, really sad. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is not a y'all lost, we won situation we are in. All of us are sitting in this barrel looking up at these oligarchs who are telling us how they're going to run this country. And you gonna like it, because what you gonna do? You notice? Yeah. You ain't gonna do nothing. We don't care what SCOTUS says. We don't care. It absolutely has. CJ says it has allowed us to see who is really who. Yes, it has. It really has. This just came out the other day too, and I needed to share this with you all. In my hometown of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, there was a high school, my rival high school. I actually went there for middle school. It's called Rufus King High School. They were going to a track meet. And at the track meet, I'm not surprised, but they were headed to a track meet. Hold on, I gotta pull it up because you are not. I'm so disappointed. This makes me so sad. But at the same token, I'm used to it. You just get to Rufus King. First of all, Milwaukee is still it used to be the number one segregated city in the country. And it very well, it probably still is. Racist taunts prompt Rufus King athletes to leave a track meet early in Waterford, Wisconsin. This is the kind of world that we live in. And here's what's really sad is some of the booster parents for the students at Waterford High were literally one of those being racist. What was supposed to be a routine track meet, then we're going to circle back, at Waterford Union High turned ugly for Rufus King High School athletes and their supporters on Wednesday. Yvette Fields, whose son is actually one of the runners for Rufus King High School, was one of several parents that said their children and school coaches were subjected to racist remarks at the competition. She said that her son came over to her and was like, Mom, people are saying racist comments. People were talking about how they like chicken and watermelon and, calling them monkeys. She said she went to the concession stand and the woman serving the patrons had on a Waterford Union sweatshirt. Her head went back when she looked at me like she was so disgusted that I was there. She took the money, she snatched up my change and slapped it on the counter. How many of us in this particular live, on all of the lives that I'm on right now, can literally attest to people taking your money once you put it in? Because see, my thing is, put it in my hand, I put it in your head, and they'll throw it back on the counter at you. And it only happens whenever the cashier is white, for me. And I notice it. I've literally said, but I didn't put it in your hand like that. And I've left change on the counter. You're not going to throw nothing at me and think you're going to get away with it. That's absolutely not. Same here, Cheryl. I will tell you, you can put that in my hand. It's so confusing to me. Like, what? I don't understand. It's put the money in my hand. So when I don't have to use cash, I don't. Because you don't have to worry about me. And if you feel that way, why do you work in an establishment where people from all walks of life come in? Speak up against it right there. Absolutely, Cheryl. Yeah, it's childish and it's disgusting. And the thing is, it's just like the young lady that recorded this woman. She was like, oh, let me go ahead and get your license plate. Oh, honey, she turned right around and walked over to her car and covered up with her physical self her license plate. She knew she was out of order and she knew what was coming, but they already got her face. And I'm sure somebody on TikTok is going to find her. Just like they have discovered that they're still trying to use another payment platform to get this young lady her money. Her money. Yeah. Okay. So here we are. So the students and the coaches made a decision after they started calling them gangsters and so forth, right? And they just got back on the bus and told them, we're going to leave. We're going to leave. And so the students left. The track meet went on ahead. They should have shut it down. That's what they should have done. Oh, this is what we're doing? Okay. It happens to you too, Sierra? I just literally do not understand this whole thing. So Waterford Union High School gave a full statement and stated that they're aware of the concerns. They're going to be, the whole spiel that they give all the time. We're going to be investigating and this is what we're going to be doing and so forth and whatnot. And, they're committed to provide an inclusive and respectful environment. Well, you know what? This administration has told you don't have to. And like that woman said, Trump is here now. I can do what I want. And what you going to do to stop me? The first time. But you know what? And I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I'm glad this happened. Because I don't want you pretending in my face that you like me. You let me know ahead of time what you think about me, and I can make proper decisions on how I will move when I'm around you, or even if I make a decision to be around you. Period. Facts. I don't ever want to be in somebody's presence that has made a decision how they are going to treat me based upon the color of my skin. That's foolish. But there are people still in this country that believe that people of darker complexion are not as good as they are. What? Help me to understand. Help me to understand. I don't understand. It does not make sense to me. Oh, nice. Sweet. Let me screenshot that. This is what happens when you're on too many committees in your community. When we were here when they came. Yeah, when we were here when they came. Yeah. And if she wants to put that on the counter, okay, yeah. They're going to get hurt thinking like that, and they are. But you know what? It's always happened. We just don't talk about it. Not out loud anymore. Because we know how to get you. But at the same token, it shouldn't even be about that. Do right because it is right. Period. Point blank, end of story. You want to be treated well, you do right by people. But people don't like being called out for the stuff that they're doing. They really don't. And it's so unfortunate that we're living in a time like this. It is and it is not. Like I said, I want you to tell me if you don't like me so I can move accordingly. Yeah, Robin, they eat chicken and watermelon. That's so dumb. And that very well may be what I have for lunch today. I haven't had lunch today. See, and that's the thing that gets me is y'all, you get upset when you get called out. I don't understand that. Why are you upset that you get called out? Why are you upset when you are physically spitting on another human being? This is another one that I saw the other day. And you weren't watching where you were going, and you tried to assault that person as well, and they pushed you out of the way and you fell, and all of a sudden you're ready to call the police. You already had yours, Cheryl? Real, but oh, I bet that was amazing, monotone blue. Yeah, like what are we doing? I don't understand it. So again, tell me who you are right up front. If you don't like me, keep it moving. I have said this before and I'll say it again. One of the things that is most interesting to me is the more that I continue to provide news and information for the platforms that I'm currently on, I literally get inboxes of the most interesting of names that I am called. I am unbothered. I'm still going to give you the news. Now, what you do with it is your business. You can come in here and you can laugh and talk and kiki with the rest of us in the neighborhood if you want to, or you can carry on. And I'll let you sit here for a little while to see if we can have a civil conversation. I have, Robin. I have. And it was the best experience of my life because it was someone that I knew. Yep, this was during COVID. Never forget it. I was so disappointed in her. I was like, thank you for letting me know how you really, but it's not you. What do you mean? I'm a sister. I'm Black. Well, it's really just them. No. And from that day to this one, I have not spoken to her. Because you thought it was funny that the woman that raised you was a Black woman. Because your family could afford a maid and a Black driver. You thought that was funny how they spoke because they didn't speak what you thought to be the King's English. Don't do that in my face. Never forget it. So disappointed. And we worked together for years, and I thought she cannot be for real. Somebody said, I actually want them to. They only want the good minorities. And I don't know, what does that mean? See, you got to be careful for that. Let me tell y'all something. The stories I have heard from people that think that there are good minorities. I'm sorry, wait, what? Whatever does that mean? Those are the ones you got to watch. Those are the ones that feed you, serve you your drinks, drive you around town. Oh, yes. Make your beds. Those are the ones you think aren't paying attention. And the whole time they are. Yep. Well, honey, that's let me tell you how many times I sat back and I thought, is that why I got laid off? Because I didn't know my place. I didn't care. Because what you're not going to do is put me in a place you think I belong. Oh, baby. Hey, Carol Sue. Listen, before we wrap up, can I play that? I saw that this morning and I thought, ooh, let's listen to Senator Chris Murphy. Let Kristi Noem have it. I got to pull it up because I was like, you better get her. Did you see, Carol Sue, did you see the look on her face? So Senator Chris Murphy let Kristi Noem have it. And she had this blank stare on her face. I had to, so it wasn't just me. I literally just hit and just let it go. It was absolutely divine. It was delicious, if that is even a word to use, how he eviscerated her. It was just beautiful. And I thought, and you know what, and someone else before him actually did it to her as well. And she couldn't answer all of the questions. Right. And she kept trying to, and she was like, it's a yes or no question. It was the blank stare MC Owens that did it for me. She was like this. And I don't know if it's too much Botox or what it is. He said, you have spent so much, and it's all illegal. Hold on, y'all. Because I literally thought, Oh my God, today. When I tell you he let her have it. It was beautiful. Here it is. They slammed them. Literally, here it is. Hang on. Let me see. Let me make sure my volume is all the way up.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, Madam Secretary. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry that I missed your call yesterday. I look forward to working closely with you. I say this with seriousness and respect, but your department is out of control. You are spending like you don't have a budget. You're on the verge of running out of money for the fiscal year. You are illegally refusing to spend funds that have been authorized by this Congress and appropriated by this committee. You are ignoring the immigration laws of this nation, implementing a brand new immigration system that you have invented that has little relation to the statutes that you are required, that you are commanded to follow, as spelled out in your oath of office. You are routinely violating the rights of immigrants who may not be citizens, but whether you like it or not, they have constitutional and statutory rights when they reside in the United States. Your agency acts as if laws don't matter, as if the election gave you some mandate to violate the Constitution and the laws passed by this Congress. It did not give you that mandate.
It did not.
You act as if your disagreement with the law, or even the public's disagreement with the law, is relevant and gives you the ability to create your own law. It does not give you that ability. Let's start with your spending. You are on track to trigger the Anti-Deficiency Act. That means you are going to spend more money than you've been allocated by Congress. This is a rare occurrence, and it is wildly illegal.
It is.
Your agency will be broke by July, over 2 months before the end of the fiscal year. You may not think that Congress has provided enough money to ICE, but the Constitution and the federal law does not allow you to spend more money than you have been given.
I need to stop right there. He is letting her have it. If you have an opportunity to see this entire thing, he is eviscerating her. And the blank look on her face, because it's almost like she's looking at him like, I don't care what you say, I'm going to still do what I want to do, and you're going to give me more money anyway. That's how she's looking, like for real. You know, but he's literally saying, you think that your power comes from Trump. No, it comes from Congress. Hold on, let's go back to it.
Or to invent money. And this obsession with spending at the border, as the chairwoman mentioned, has left the country unprotected elsewhere. The security threats to the United States are higher, not lower, than before Trump came to office. To fund the border, you have illegally gutted spending for cybersecurity. As we speak, Russian and Chinese hackers are having a field day attacking our nation. You have withdrawn funds for disaster prevention. Storms are going to kill more people in this country because of your illegal withholding of these funds. Your myopia about the border, fueled by President Trump's prejudice against people who speak a different language, has shattered many of this country's most important defenses. Now let's talk about the impoundments. When Congress appropriates funds for a specific purpose, the administration has no discretion as to whether to spend or not spend that money, unless you go through a very specific process with this committee. Let me give you 2 of many instances of this illegal impoundment. The first is the Shelter and Services
She's like
program.
this, y'all. Look.
Senator Britt may want to zero that account out, but that account is funded, and it was funded in a bipartisan way. You don't like the program. Your policy is to treat migrants badly. I think that's abhorrent, but it doesn't matter that you don't like the program. You cannot cancel spending in this program, and you cannot use the funds as you have to fund other things, like ICE. You have also canceled citizenship and integration grants, which help lawful permanent residents become citizens, helping them take the citizenship test. I know your goal is to try to make life as hard as possible for immigrants, but that goal is not broadly shared by the American public. That's why Congress, in a bipartisan way, for decades, has funded this program to help immigrants in this country become citizens.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about why encounters at the southern border are down so much. This is clearly going to be your primary talking point.
Of course they are, Poppy.
You will tell us that it represents a success. But the primary reason why encounters are down is because you are brazenly violating the law every hour of every day. You are refusing to allow people showing up at the southern border to apply for asylum. I acknowledge that you don't believe that people should be able to apply for asylum, but you don't get to choose that. The White House doesn't get to choose that. The law requires you to process people who are showing up at the border and claim asylum. Why? Because our asylum law is a bipartisan commitment. effort to correct for our nation's unconscionable decision to deny entry to Jews to this country who were being hunted and killed by the Nazis. Our nation, Republicans and Democrats, decided, wrote it into law, that we would not repeat that horror ever again, and thus we would allow for people who were fleeing terror and torture to come here, arrive at the border, and make a case for asylum. Finally, let's talk about these disappearances. In an autocratic society, people who the regime does not like, or people who are protesting the regime, they are just often picked up off the street, spirited away, sometimes to open-ended detention, sometimes they're never seen again. What you are doing, both the individuals who have legal rights to stay here, like Kilmar Abrego Garcia, or students who are just protesting Trump's policies, is immoral. And to follow the theme, it is illegal. You have no right to deport a student visa holder with no due process, simply because they have spoken in a way that offends the president. You can't remove migrants who a court has given humanitarian protection from removal. Now, reports suggest that you are planning to remove immigrants with no due process and send them to prisons in Libya. Libya is in the middle of a civil war. It is subject to a level 4 travel advisory, meaning we tell American citizens never
I'm going to be
to
sharing
travel
that
to
later.
Libya. We don't have an embassy there because it is not safe for our diplomats. Sending migrants with pending asylum claims into a war zone just because it's cruel is so deeply disturbing. Listen, I understand that my Republican colleagues on this committee don't view the policy the way that I do. My Republican colleagues don't share my level of concern for the way that this administration treats immigrants. That's fine. But what I don't understand is why we don't have consensus in the Senate and on this committee on the decision by this administration to impound the spending that we have decided together to allocate in defense of this nation. We as an appropriations committee, we work interminable hours to write and pass a budget. This budget is really hard to write and pass. And so we make ourselves irrelevant when we allow the administration to ignore what we have decided. And then when we look the other way, when the administration rounds up immigrants who are here illegally and have committed no offenses worthy of detainment, we also do potential irreversible damage to the Constitution. These should not be partisan concerns, destroying the power of Congress, eroding individuals' constitutional rights. This should matter to both parties. Madam Secretary, thank you for being here, and I look forward to your testimony.
So there's that. We're not even going to talk about Mr. Patel. He wasn't ready with his financial breakdown for fiscal year 2026, and he was very indignant. No, it's not ready. I don't know when it's going to be ready. When did it become okay to go to your boss ultimately and say, I don't know. They wore him out. Baby, we could sit here all day and we could talk about how they wore this administration currently out. And I am glad to see so many people that are saying, no, what you call them, tangle eyes? Did you call them tangle eyes? I cannot. That is brilliant because, wow. So it is unbelievable. Of course, I'll be sharing some of this a little bit later on my Substack at Paulette on the Mic. Go ahead and subscribe to that. Y'all do know it's 1:30. I am way over, but wait, was that not brilliant, Vanessa? Listen. So thank you to those of you all who are on YouTube and Meta who are responding. I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us today. But listen, when you are a part of the brownstone, you become neighbors. And so all of you here with me today, you are my neighbor. We are all neighbors, okay? And Tangle Eyes Patel, boy, that's a good one. So what we want to make sure that we do is to keep you connected with us on a regular basis. As I wrap up, as you can tell, for those of you all who've been around a while, y'all know this is new for me. So I'm really trying to just stay unsquirreled. Come and hang out with us throughout your day at brownstoneworldwide.com for news and information that you can use. Also, it is Mother's Day weekend. We'll be sharing some article content with you guys. In the meantime, if you want to, go ahead over to my Stan store. You don't have to purchase anything. Just go ahead and get your free digital copy of Brownstone Living magazine with UGC creator, the one and only Kevon Hartley on the cover. He's also a model and video creator. He was actually the very first African-American and child, by the way, who was a part of Amazon's beta program for television channels to be on there. And it was called KJ in the Hall. So really good program, really good read up to see how he's doing, where he's going to school and so forth. Really, really good. We're talking graduation. We're talking Mother's Day. And we also did a piece on the Fifth Amendment. So go ahead and check that out. And all of our contributors like Leanne Dulce and Marshawn Lalanio, Dr. Michelle Josie, and others who contribute regularly to Brownstone Worldwide, as well as Brownstone Living Magazine. Don't forget, Cityscape Radio is also available to you guys as well. But also remember, follow me on Substack. Go ahead and subscribe for free. And over the next couple of weeks, what I'm going to be doing, guys, is figuring out a paid platform, or so that if you're a paid subscriber, you're going to start getting some extra things that other people are not going to get, like an additional live or, something like that. I'm going all in. Happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers for the weekend. Enjoy your Mother's Day weekend. For those of you all who are mothers, okay? I'm probably going to go somewhere and take a doggone nap and go have brunch or something like that. But you all enjoy the rest of your day. Of course, come back often on all of the platforms where Brownstone Worldwide is, including Paulette on the mic. And guess what? We're going to be giving you more news, more information that you can use, all the things. Now, because it is already 1:30, we're going to forego our 6 list. But let's do the 3 things that I always tell every single one of you all before we end every broadcast. Are you ready? 1, love your life. It is the only one that you have. 2, live your life to the fullest and embrace everything that is your life, because you only get one you might as well enjoy it. And lastly, breathe through every single moment. Get out there and enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, and don't forget, I'm officially on Spotify as well. Okay. So if you want to catch this again, you absolutely can. All righty. We'll see you around.
Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone boozy and breakfast with Fernell. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are welcome in the essence. This broadcast, Brownstone, the light is contagious. But you need go on and receive it for yourself. Just open it, exuberant, evolution, excited. We standing on the foundation of expression. You might have seen, you might have been, or you could have gravitated. Our foundation, we want to create a space for all to collaborate and be liberated from eventually all over the globe. And we are extending a hand to those who are an extension from maybe platforms, dig into another stratosphere. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Welcome to Brownstone Worldwide. Tips, topics, and talk, we got it all. Brownstone boozy and breakfast with Bernard. Here to entertain, and we will help you live well. And that is MSG, the message in the message. I can OD on my execution of excellency. And this as a man right now, and things aren't created, but see true.